Welcome, everyone, to the ScreamCast. I'm your host, Sean DeRager. With me, as always, Brad Henderson.
Hi.
You're so enthusiastic whenever you say hello. I love it. Well, today we are talking Slumber Party Massacre. Just came out recently on Scream Factory. And we figured, since we're talking about a movie with scantily clad women, we might as well get a woman on here that's, okay with being scantily clad. So Tristan Risk is on the show. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course, our pleasure having you with us.
Welcome to the pants-free party, boys.
Oh, wait. This is a pants-free party?
Hold on. Let me get...
I'm standing up.
Do what you got.
Okay, pants are off.
Oh, marvelous.
You took your pants off that fast?
I'm in California. I'm wearing shorts all the time. Shorts are easy to
but
take
are
off.
they elastic? Do you have dad elastic shorts or something?
I lost about 20 pounds, so these shorts are a bit loose.
Because it took me just a little bit to actually undo my belt.
Well, that's why you don't wear a belt.
Some of us are more adept at it than others. Don't hate, just participate. However long it takes you to get there, sometimes it's not about winning the race, it's about the journey.
It's basically all about just getting your pants off. I mean, it doesn't matter how you get the pants off.
I would lose at that game. I'm still trying to get my pants off.
Oh my god, okay.
By the end of the show, the pants will be off.
Yes.
And then the party will be over.
Yes. I'll be late. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Starting things out swimmingly.
As we do.
Yes. Many of you may know Tristan Risk if you've seen the movie American Mary. She played, damn it.
Oh,
Beatrice Johnson.
Oh my, Sean, what was the name?
I got it. Hold on.
Joke.
Hold on. Here we go. She played Beatrice Johnson.
She did.
She did. Beatrice was my favorite character in the movie. Can I kiss ass now?
This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are so much fun.
Oh my god. Hold on, I'm trying to get my bearings straight because I spent the day it's funny, these things, I spent the whole day with the kids. We're watching Frozen again for the
Why
billionth
didn't you watch
time.
American Mary with the kids? It's a good family flick.
I know. Then we just got done watching, what's that movie with the balloons?
I don't know, but every episode you mention that you're watching Frozen with your children.
It's because my kid's been watching it every single day since we bought that stupid movie.
It's out already on DVD? Holy shit, that didn't take long.
No. All right. Where are we going here?
I actually was going to do a shameless self-indulgence number as Phoenix going into Dark Phoenix to let it out. Not going to lie. We were going to have visuals on the movie screen behind me of all the Dark Phoenix effects, and I was going to do some gymnastic stuff so it looks like I'm actually flying in the air, and yeah. So, shameless self-indulgence.
I want to see that.
I know. God. All right, so
Are both of you vaping right now?
no,
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out,
How to
how to freaking get this train back on the track.
What Tristan's character was in American
No,
Mary?
I know. I hear her. She played Beatrice Johnson. That's the name of the character, right?
There'll be a test at the end of the podcast.
It's in my notes right here that I took from IMDb.
Oh God. Oh,
Don't worry,
Jesus.
you've got a lifeline with me. You can always ask me a question if you're not sure what the answer is.
Yeah, I think that's what she dive into, just asking her questions, because she's a lady that you could ask pretty much
Pretty much.
a lot of questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, hey, here's the first thing I wanted to kind of start off with. I saw this on your Twitter the other day, and you had a couple pictures of Catwoman and Batman.
Yes.
And you say you can pinpoint when you got into BDSM by watching when you're 7 by watching this scene with Catwoman and Batman in the original TV series.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, really, I think I can even attribute to this day that my preference for being on top was from both of those situations when she's in the classic show and in Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just sometimes you want to drive, and there's Batman all trussed up, and there's Catwoman being the hottest thing ever in life, and totally in control, and yep, that planted a seed a little bit.
How about Halle Berry's Catwoman? Was that an
That
inspiration?
was an abortion. That was terrible. That was that. No wonder Halle Berry wanted the mask to obscure so much of her face, because I wouldn't want to be associated with that piece of shit anyway.
Oh my! But the
Oh,
last
God.
10 minutes are just hilarity.
That's how we became friends. If I remember correctly, Sean, because you said something about Catwoman and someone retweeted you, and I told you the last 5 minutes there's a line in that movie that doesn't make a bit of goddamn sense, and it's like Halle Berry hits Sharon Stone in the face with a steel pipe, and she goes, "What's wrong with you?" And she says the line, "Oh, after using years of that cream, it turns your skin into stone." And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? That blew my fucking mind that it took a direction like that.
We've got Marvel DC crossover where Sharon Stone is actually Emma Frost, and her
There
skin.
you go.
What the? And was it a cute play on her name? Oh, she turns to stone. She's staring stone. Hee hee hee. Weak. Fucking weak, man. I don't know, really reaching for it there. It's just at least in the Wasp Woman, there was tangible science behind it. Okay, bee venom, yeah, sure. Mutant queen bee, okay, I can see where this is going. Her skin is poisonous. Something cool like that. None of this oh, my skin's hard. No.
Yeah, not to mention the worst villain ever. Jesus.
Because I watched you walk down that hallway in that one scene, and I remember watching your boobs jiggle. That is not, no, I'm not buying it. Sorry.
I did like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I will say that. Not the most ideal Catwoman, but definitely, I don't know. Anne Hathaway's pretty cute. Just saying.
I think Michelle Pfeiffer's still my number one in my mind.
Yeah, well, she took on that role a little bit more sexuality, because the Catwoman has always been very, very sexual, and I didn't get that with Halle Berry. It was just kind of very cartoonish, and I don't think they went there that much with Anne Hathaway, because I don't know. Anne Hathaway could be sexual. I mean, I saw Love and Other Drugs, and I mean, she was very, very sexual in that movie, but I was hoping for a little bit more sexual Catwoman. I didn't get that.
Did you either of you read the Catwoman story, Her Sister's Keeper?
Is it the one where she went to France?
No, it's the one where the story, it's really dark, where Selena Kyle's actually a prostitute and her sister's a nun, and she gets beat up by her pimp, and then she gets taken to the hospital. And the cop gives her the number of this guy that teaches her to fight, and then she winds up taking revenge against her pimp, and then the pimp goes after her sister, and Batman just kind of shows up periodically in it. But it's a really interesting study in psychology, and it reminded me a lot of the original Cat People movie from 1940s, where you're struggling with this persona that you think that if you're going to give into this dark side, because it really explored that dark side of human nature and how we just revert into this thing in our minds where we make it okay and give ourselves permission to go there. And it's a fantastic story. And I always maintain that if they ever made that a movie, I would plunge a dagger into my right thigh to be Catwoman in that movie and play Selena Kyle.
I'd vote for that.
That would be yeah. I would totally be on board.
Yay! Okay, I'll just throw you guys at the studio heads and
there you go.
They say it's cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of pull. I'm just saying.
I really do.
Speaking of movies that you would like to be in, I saw that the director of the latest G.I. Joe movie and then the Justin Bieber movies, he's taking on Jem, and you tweeted something about wanting to audition for a live action Jem.
I did, and I still do. And the character I'm looking at is Synergy, because I feel that I could play Jem's holographic, distant, long dead mother quite well. And because I'm not fooling myself, I don't think I'm really Jem material. I could probably pull off one of the Misfits, no problem. Possibly Aja, but I think that of all the characters in the Jem world, the one that I would be best geared to portraying would definitely be Synergy. And so we started a hashtag Risk for Synergy on Twitter, hoping that it would start trending and hopefully get me a chance, at least an audience, and I can give them my best hologram voice.
I'd be for it. I mean, the director is John M. Chu, and he took my advice on putting the correct mask on Cobra Commander. Because he listened to me, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah, creative pull. Boom.
Totally. So John M. Chu, we're gonna hashtag you to death. Watch out.
You will have words.
I think that's a great idea.
So, Tristan, you've been doing the burlesque thing for a while, but you've also been trying to jump into acting a little bit as well. Do you want to try to juggle those two, or are you trying to get more and more into acting these days? What's your...
The acting is picking up speed for sure, and it's awesome because it's consistent and it looks like I've got quite a bit of work for the next 6 months, which I'm really excited about because I promised myself I wouldn't do any like dumb or shitty projects that I wasn't interested in and I couldn't like kind of get behind. I wasn't going to take work just for work's sake. I'd only do cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And that being said, of course, all the stuff that's come my way is really interesting. It really actually is inspiring to read and see how many cool scripts and ideas are in development right now. Because it's like, oh, thank God. If these things get made, then horror might just be okay in the long run. You know, like we might see some cool ideas yet that haven't just been like remade and rebooted and sequeled to death. And it's very heartening. But I think that I'm pretty able to balance it out with the burlesque. Typically, like I normally perform fairly regularly within the week, but it's it's going to be something that has to, I'll go from doing it on a regular basis in a month to maybe once a month. But I don't see myself giving it up at like altogether. I think I'm too addicted to the rush from being on stage to let it go completely. And if I did, then I just wind up like doing like little shows for people on set and at premieres and stuff like that. I'm like, please let me perform for you. Let me entertain you. I have so much love to give.
Well, that's the beneficial part for you actually having that on the side, because that gives you the, opportunity and ability to pick and choose exactly what you want. Because, there's a lot of actors out there that just, take. Because even Morgan Brown said on our last episode that you take work, when it comes to you, whether it be shitty or whether it be, something really, really worthwhile. But yeah, having a kind of a night job, I guess you would say, it's very beneficial because I guess you can get to pick exactly what you want to do and carefully choose, because it would, let's face it, there's a shit ton of horror films and a shit ton are shitty. So I love the genre, but I'll be the first to admit, there's a lot, I admire the heart behind it, but, it's time to, think of new things, guys. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, Tristan, there's a different energy that you have to put towards performing live as opposed to like a movie. How would you describe kind of that difference?
Well, I feel like it's kind of, it would kind of be the difference between being a sprinter and being a long distance runner, because when I used to tour, it was doing a show every night, driving, 4 to 8 hours between cities, getting ready in like gas station bathrooms sometimes, having to like, deal with logistics of different new venues every night that aren't consistent or the same. And, you just, after you do that for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, and then you do that throughout the year, you just kind of develop this stamina. And then when you're on set, you've got finite hours to complete a whole production. And I feel like because it's, it doesn't feel like it's hard to work for me, because it doesn't feel like it's as a consistent energy drain. Because even just sitting in the car for a really long time or on the bus, it takes a lot out of you. So you're almost tired before you even get to where you're going sometimes. And I feel like on the set, you've got everybody else's energy to feed off a little bit. So I think that's definitely interesting and different about the two. But I like having the option of going back and forth between the two and having variety.
It kind of seems like you would never get sick of either one. You know what I mean?
No, the stage is my longtime love, but I cheat on her now and then with the silver screen.
Do you have any like characters that you do like on stage, like, or certain things like that?
I don't have other personas, but I do a lot of variety things. Like there's kind of more of the cheeky, cute, funny stuff. There's the strict pinup kind of old school traditional striptease. There's the burlesque. There's some stuff that's just straight up like weird contemporary performance art that I'll do. There's the circus stuff. So I mean, in that respect, I kind of switch back and forth a little bit for whatever it calls for. But at the end of the day, it's all pretty much falls under the umbrella of Little Miss Risk.
All those sound delightful. With the character of Beatrice, how was that modeled? I mean, did the Soska twins come to you? Like, were you there in the very beginning of the creation of Beatrice, or was it something that a character you already had, or just something that you guys all thought of together?
Well, they had an idea of what they wanted for Beatrice, and when I was doing the research, I had watched a whole bunch of Betty Boop DVDs, and I'd watched Madonna in Who's That Girl, and in Dick Tracy, and just kind of picked up on a lot of the nuances. And I got really good direction from the twins, and just kind of more what my contribution was the voice, because it wasn't too Betty Boopish. It was more Ellen Green, and the body movements, because I felt like this was somebody who would have done what drag queens do, and that was they would observe like the nuances and exaggerate a lot of the movements. So it was like she wasn't being cartoony. This was just like kind of the mannerisms that she might have consciously done when she was like in her trans phase, and then now that she's this person, these are just things she does unconsciously. One
of my favorite moments in American Mary with your character is when the main character, Mary, walks into the club and Beatrice is on stage performing. Like, in the middle of the performance, she kind of sees our main character come in, so she stops and kind of waves.
Yeah.
I love that moment.
Yeah, the moment of, like, the kid in the elementary school play finally spots their parents and stops what they're doing. It's like, hi, see me? Hi, Mom, hi,
right.
Hey.
Except she has no clothes on.
Well, that's, yeah. Well,
that I mean, don't make that sound bad, John.
No, I'm not. Why would I make that sound bad?
I don't know.
Well, I've done that a couple times too, and I'm at the strip bar and I see someone I recognize and say, hi.
That's awesome. I mean, I'd probably do that.
You're going to strip,
stripped.
Sean?
No. You don't know. You don't want to see this body on stage.
Dude, as fast as you can take off your pants, man. I don't know.
Yeah, you can drag it out there. You can do a little bit of a tease, incorporate a chair. Burlesque.
You could.
Sean, this sounds hot.
I know. But
hey, you're looking. Anyway. Yeah, that could be your new job, Sean. That's like the new day job.
I think so. Maybe more like maybe a lunch job. Maybe I can break away for lunch and do that, make some extra cash.
Lunch, stripping.
Yeah. Go down to the cafeteria at my office and
talented here. That's what we're about here.
Speaking of the cafeteria in my office building, there was this guy that used to work there, unusually buff for a cafeteria worker, like working the register. And then we heard rumors from ladies in the office who had him appear at little strip things that they had organized. So I always felt weird when I went in and was checking out with my sandwich.
Even though that he doesn't know that you know, just walking up to somebody like that, I would feel awkward. And usually that stuff doesn't bother me, but I don't know, like having a male cafeteria man being a stripper at night with people that you might work with, I could see that being a little weird.
Let's just say half the women in the office probably had seen him naked at some point.
What is it about that would be weird in that situation? Just knowing that he's like out there shaking his junk at night and making money.
It's not the actual act of, because of course that kind of shit doesn't bother me, but it's just the fact that, it's like he's there. He's not really saying anything, but like, maybe hello and the amount that you owe. And then you just move on. And you look back over your shoulder and he just continues. And it's like, at night, this guy is a totally different person.
Right.
And it's the same thing as like at work, when you work with somebody, I've had a few jobs here and there. And then you go to hang out with that person maybe at night. And they're completely fucking different. The way that they dress, the way that they look. And it's just, I don't know. It's just this thing comes over. You're like, holy shit. Like work is kind of like a costume. And, it's a character you play. And so that's more or less, I guess, the more, extreme of things you wouldn't think people did at night. I guess that's the part that I would feel weird about.
The duality that you're not aware of.
Yeah, yeah.
Or do you
I
feel that
guess
people
that
are
would
being
be.
honest about who they actually are?
Um,
No,
I mean,
we'll go with the unknown duality. It's just like you probably suspect that it's there, but you don't know what it is, what side it falls on. Like maybe they're a champion macrame knitter, or maybe they're a serial killer. You just don't know.
ooh, a serial killer would be nice.
Mm.
A lot of people think
What
I'm
the
a serial
macrame
killer.
gets no love.
Well, no, it's
you
like
never
it would be something that where like if you knew it and he knew it, but like it wasn't wasn't brought up. I mean, it's something that I would want to ask, and I guess that's kind of where the awkwardness was come from, because I would almost like be, attempted to say, "Hey."
So it would be more that like once you knew you're curious and so you want to ask about it, but that would be making the whole thing awkward then.
Yeah, I want to bring it up, but it would be extremely hard to.
Yeah.
I mean, but it all again depends on the person, because if they're, they flaunt it and they want it to be known, then that would be a lot, easier to talk about, of course.
No, and this guy was like totally reserved and very almost shy, which was just like boggled my mind.
Maybe he was scared of sandwiches.
I was this is my buffalo chicken sandwich. I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to make things awkward.
Yeah.
Tristan, did you have a time when you were kind of juggling day jobs and trying to get the burlesque thing going? Did you ever have a time when that was kind of the case?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of the thing where, I've done things to supplement my income as well as the burlesque. And even though it's paid like a very large portion of what I live on, I've always kept like other things that have kept money coming in, just because, sometimes there's like, it's either feast or famine sometimes. And, I've done 5 million types of jobs and things that other people would never dream of doing, just because it's like, this is, that it's a means to an end, and it's not what's going to define you as a person at the end of the day. And I think every artist kind of goes through that. And then you get to a point where you're just like, fuck this fucking shit. I am not doing this anymore.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
There's a couple. There was a couple of excuses. I was a personal assistant a couple of times for a few different people, and that was always awkward because it's kind of like they want you to run their life, but they don't really want you to run their life. They want you just to anticipate everything that they're going to want, and that's extremely complicated.
That would be very hard.
Yeah, and oh God, what's something I can say that's not going to get me incriminated? Trying to think here.
Tread carefully.
Yeah. I used to work. I worked really briefly when I was young in a coffee shop, and it always amazed me that there was like all these people who would go like I've always gotten annoyed with people when you go out to eat or something and they have to have like the fussiest fucking things to their food or their drink, and it's
yeah,
the types. You go out
yeah.
and they're the person who's like, does that have dairy in it? Blah 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 blah. It's like, I'm vegan, I'm gluten intolerant. I'm like, how do you live? How did you get to however old you are and not die from all these things that should kill you? Like, what the hell? So I get really annoyed with things like that. And I think it stems from when I was a teenager. I worked in a coffee shop, and these people in the suburbs and their ridiculous coffee requests, and like, everything had to be very, very specific. And all I could think is, I'm like, you know what? If you really were worried about the skim milk, you wouldn't be having a double shot tall mocha with extra whipped cream and chocolate sprinkles. That would probably, I don't think this balances it out, to be honest with you. And just the level of persnicketyness in North Americans, really just anything retail, really. Like it just, I sold glass dildos at a sex expo a couple years in a row, and it was just like people are asking me all kinds of ridiculous questions. I'm like, I don't know. Have you fucked with one of these before? Yeah, maybe want to try fucking with one of these. You know what? Latex is overrated. Silicone, it gets cracks in it. This shit you can put in the dishwasher. Just maybe, boil it in water when you're done. I don't know. Like, just put it on the mantle to scare your in-laws. I don't care. Like, it was such like a weird thing to be doing. And I think I was like in my early 20s when I was doing that. And it's just all the weird, the creepy swingers, not the cool swingers, the creepy swingers. Are all just like hanging around. And I'm like, listen, I'll go home with you and your stupid wife if you just buy like 8 of these and let me off already. Like, just whatever. I'll meet you in the parking lot. But, you know, it never actually wound up coming to that. But yeah, anything where it's working a trade show in doing retail was always just utterly draining because you're done at the end of the day. And, yeah.
No, people are assholes.
Those are my shitty side jobs.
Ugh. I was a server all through college, so yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Fuck those people.
Yeah, I never got into food or you know, anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I've always been. I guess it's a little frustrating what I do. Like whenever I go up to something and they're like, "What do you want?" I always feel bad because I know those people that, oh, I want this, I want that, I don't want that though, you know. And it's like, quit. Like, why are you so fucking high maintenance? You know, just fucking grab it. Because we have a sandwich, you know, like a sandwich central thing at work where, you know, the chef is behind there and he'll just fix whatever you want. And every fucking day I go up there, I'm just like, dude, just do whatever. I like everything you have right there. Just make whatever. Because I hate standing there and saying, I want this, I want that, I don't want that. And I always feel like I am, you know, taking up the time or holding up the line because of that. I know it's stupid, but it's just that mentality I have because of all the assholes they have to deal with. It's kind of refreshing to have somebody that just like, oh shit, this person is not going to complain at all.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're going to give me a break. And then you kind of have this weird reverse karma thing that you're like letting them off the hook.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, people are assholes.
Just, you know, anytime you've been behind that one person in a Starbucks who's like doing this super complicated drink and you're just like, fuck you, I just want drip coffee and I want to get in and out of here, and you have to be that asshole who's gonna make a problem between me and my coffee right now. Fuck you. So sometimes it's altruistic and sometimes it's not.
Yeah. No, I think everybody has encountered somebody like that, and it's wherever you go, there's people like that, and it's just, it makes me nauseous sometimes.
Makes me stabby.
Stabby's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Stabby.
I wanted to ask you this, Tristan. Whenever I would talk to people about, I was talking to them about having you on the show, and I mentioned the word burlesque. You know, people are always asking me like, well, what is that? And I come from a very strong Christian background, so, you know, anything related to any sort of removing of clothes is, you know, always seem to raise eyebrows. In kind of what I've seen, like with the burlesque stuff, as opposed to like, you know, posing in a penthouse or something like that, like I see like the burlesque thing as more of like an artistic expression. You know, do you approach it that way, or how do you, like, when people ask you like, what is burlesque? Like, how do you respond to somebody who asks you that?
Well, first off, let me just start by saying that I love the stuff that Penthouse does. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be going to Germany for the launch of the May issue because Jennifer Blank Bean is going to be on their cover, and that's really exciting. And I'm also going to be doing a shoot for them as well. And I think that just any kind of self-expression, whether it's burlesque or stripping, like we all kind of come from the same thing in terms of what's viewed as, you know, kind of like scandalous ways of self-expression, whether it be photos or live shows. You know, I mean, I don't feel like, I mean, a lot of people say, you know, I come from the same thing as you, a very conservative background. And I'm like, well, I don't really recall anywhere in any scriptures where being naked was wrong. It's only in the last little while that it's really been, like, nudity's been associated with, you know, kind of having carefree ways. But the body itself has never been anything that in any religious scripture I've seen has been a bad thing. But people have a bad tendency to interpret things as such. And in that vein, people will often come up to me and say, oh, I love your burlesque. It's so much better than stripping. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of really good fucking strippers out there who are really entertaining. So it's not, and I've seen like my fair share of, milquetoast burlesque, like it goes both ways. I've seen great strippers and I've seen shitty burlesque dancers. So I think that it's really important to remember that like whatever way people are performing that way, it's a self-expression. And I think that it's also, as long as they take pride in it and they do it well, then that's going to be reflected in the work. And burlesque, I mean, I've had to explain to people before, it's like striptease, but it's kind of, it's a little bit performance art. It's a little bit old school showgirl. But ultimately what it is stripping. Mm-hmm. And, when you kind of explain it to people that way, then they're kind of like, oh, okay. And like, it's all about how you approach it. I think if I had gone in and said to a lot of folks, when I get posed that, oh, it's disgusting, it's degrading and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, then they're going to be like, yeah, that's really, it's rough on the girls. But when I show them that it's like, hey, people have the freedom to make whatever choice they want to express themselves. And, even whether I agree with it or not, I'll still support it. That's the difference when people are like, yeah, that's being really open-minded. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Now go forth and spread the good word, pilgrim.
Yeah, that's the one thing I always have seen, just because it's people are, not all people, but there's a certain group that are very uneducated in, kind of, I don't know, because I see it as a somewhat of a difference because like even Sean would ask the question of burlesque being a little more artsy. I mean, there is artsy, stripping as well, but I think people are so used to like, the movie stripper of the dark, dingy, nightclub where the skeezy people go and, the people, the ugly strippers dance in the morning, the good looking, the decent strippers dance at night. And people are so like, they're submerged in that world that it's like, have you ever been to a strip club? Have you actually really been like there? I mean, yes, there are strip clubs like that, but I mean, are you really going to look at stripping as this, dirty and dingy thing? I mean, usually it's, relatively clean and, but I look at burlesque completely different from strip because there's more of a, I don't know. It's just it feels different. It's not that it feels less dirty because it's a little bit. I think it is a little bit sexier, but there's a little bit more. It feels like there's a little more artistic aspect to it, and I think that's why that attracts me a little bit more.
It tends to be more theatrical for sure. And I think that what's important to remember is when the neo-burlesque movement came out, like they were really trying to differentiate themselves from strippers because people had the idea that like the stripping wasn't empowering and, it wasn't a woman's choice. And if she was doing it, it was because she was like a drug addict or some other nonsense. Yeah. So there was this real stigma around being a stripper. And so the third wave feminists took the neo-burlesque thing and was doing it to reclaim it and kind of like bring to light like the traditional stuff. And now, we have burlesque dancers who pole dance. We have strippers who do tassel twirling. So it's kind of like there's a lot of blurred lines here now. So, I mean, but like back in the day, like, you wanted to like, I'm not a stripper, I'm a burlesque dancer. And now we call ourselves strippers because it's like, well, that's essentially what we're doing. Right. And it's like, we don't want to put any lines in the sand and be like, what I do is better than what she does. And I think that's what it comes down to a lot of the time.
Cool. How does one prepare for tassel twirling?
We get a piece of double-sided carpet tape. We cut a little piece off. We put it on the end of the pasty. We position the pasty up high and on the inside, so you're trying to get as much of the under boob happening as possible. And then you can either do a shoulder roll or you can jump up and down and let centrifugal force twirl the tassels.
That was delightful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm about to practice one of these days. Give that a try.
Yeah,
Sean, you're going to turn into a fucking stripper or a burlesque dancer.
Is there male tassel twirling? That's what I want to know.
There is. In the boylesque world, there is quite a bit of man tassel twirling. Penis coptering, as it were.
Helicopter dick. Yes.
I had no idea there was a boylesque.
Very familiar with that.
Wow, I have a lot to educate myself.
Boylesque out there. Very excellent boylesque.
I feel so sheltered sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, you are. Yeah, it's funny though, but it's fun. I mean, it's I think it's a great situation, this goes for a lot of things. When people haven't experienced or heard of things, it's that you have that group of people that gets upset, like, oh my God, how have you not done that? How have you not tried that? How have you not seen that? It's like, dude, that's fun, because now I get to see Sean's facial expressions when I tell him, helicopter dick, watch this.
Helicopter.
Just to see your eyes and your face like that. I think, seeing somebody experience something for the first time is just as exhilarating as you experiencing or finding out for the first time. I like that. So Sean, anytime you want to watch helicopter dick, just let me know.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you know.
Yeah, be sure to check out Jenna Marble's video. Jenna Marble, she's a brilliant video blogger, and check out her music video for Bounce That Dick, and it's a fantastic music video. Fantastic.
Yeah, I know who Jenna Marbles is, but I did not know about that, so I will be watching that after the show.
We will have to put that in the show notes.
Boom.
Well, I want to get to talking to Slumber Party Massacre here soon, and Tristan, I want to go over kind of what you're going to be, kind of your upcoming projects, probably towards the end of the show. So I want to set aside some time to do that after we talk some Slumber Party Massacre. Are you down with that?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break here. Today's band is called Switchblade Saturdays. They're out of Des Moines, Iowa, and it's my old friend Zari Solom. Him and I go way back. He introduced me to punk rock and Japanese anime. And what's that anime that involves tentacles and sex? Hentai. He introduced me to that. So, I'm not totally sheltered, but still.
Do you like that?
What the fuck is up with that?
Hey, don't crap. People like that.
I know. Anyway. So what I'm saying is he's a good guy. Him and I go way back, and he introduced me to all the seedy stuff my parents didn't want me to know about. So for that, I am eternally grateful to my friend Zari. Anyway, the song I'm going to play for you right now is called Zed's Dead, Baby, and so is the romance. You're listening to the ScreamCast.
And you will not return.
was Switchblade Saturdays with Zed's Dead Baby and So Is the Romance. It's from their digital EP that's out right now. I believe they put it on SoundCloud, so I'll have links to that in the show notes. They're recording their full-length album very, very soon, so if you like what you heard, check them out and, grab their album when it comes out. I'm really looking forward to it. Alright, so today we're talking Slumber Party Massacre.
Slumber Party Massacre.
Slumber Party Massacre.
This is one of the films that I would always, end up kind of looking over when my dad wasn't looking in the video store. Kind of looking over the cover for Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2 are the ones that I remember the most. And
2 has a sexy cover.
Very awesome covers, and interesting about the cover, especially the first one, I think only one of the girls is actually an actress in the movie. The others are models.
Seems legit for the time.
I think so. But anyway, a great poster, and especially to a little boy who's just hit puberty. I mean, the best poster imaginable.
Yep. Scantily clad females and potential killers, and it's like, what's not to like?
Yeah,
exactly.
That was, just as any, even men, it didn't matter. Boys, men, you see the cover, it's definitely a must. Yeah. Because you know that you're going to be in for a treat with either bloodshed or nudity. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
And guess what? It has both.
It
Boom!
Does. It took me many, many years to actually finally see it. It wasn't until Shout Factory did the trilogy or whatever, the 3-pack of the Slumber Party Massacre movies. And that's when I finally got around to finally seeing this movie. And I had a lot of fun. I had a fun time with it. What are your guys', we'll start with you, Tristan. What's your history with the Slumber Party Massacre?
Well, my thing with Slumber Party Massacre is it's got one of my favorite 80s scream queens in it, which is Brink Stevens. And this was the first film I saw her in. And I remember, and I didn't see it like in 82 because I was a child. But I remember seeing it on VHS, and I was like, this was in the time when Linnea Quigley and a lot of the other 80s scream queens were getting breast augmentation done. And when I saw this, I was, hitting puberty and stuff and growing boobs. And I've always been on the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. And so seeing a scream queen who was running around topless with the rest of them, and yet she had like boobs that were like mine, was really awesome to me. Because it was like, oh, it's not, there's room for everybody in the rainbow, right? And the other thing I liked about this was the choice of weapon, the drill. I was like, wow, just that, like Rita Mae Brown was probably doing a little bit of reverse penis envy here, like with the drill.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of Tetsuo the Iron Man going on, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
So
yes.
those were my takes on it.
Yeah, very very phallic. The kill drill is. Definitely, it took me a few years later, because when I first saw it, it was like, 5 probably.
Jeez, you started early.
Yeah, no, it was very, very early. But when I first saw it, of course that didn't, click until maybe I was about 7. But, I got in pretty young.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of it being a drill.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's just a funny weapon in general to actually see, but it's also really badass. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the drill.
Brad? What's your first experiences with the Slumber Party Massacre?
Well, being very young and seeing it. I want to say I was maybe 5. I might have been. It's hard to remember because I was submerged into that when I was younger. My mom was completely obsessed with horror films. As really? I've said on previous shows, I've said like it wasn't until years later until I had a daughter and I actually saw these cartoons like Little Mermaid and The Lion King. I didn't know what that was. Because I would just get bored during those. And my mom was like, okay, well, here you go. Here's Friday the 13th. Here's Child's Play. Here's Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm literally 5 years old watching these people get slaughtered and just sitting there like, I could just remember certain things I do remember. The only thing that ever really scared me was Child's Play, but everything else, my mom would hook up 2 VCRs and, cut out mostly the very sexual stuff, sex scenes, stuff like that.
Oh,
so that way, yeah, well, she would, let me have the tape so I could, go ahead and watch it when, she wasn't around. And then a few years later when I was like, 10 or so, I guess, I was allowed to watch it. But I still snuck it in. What?
To watch the sexy bits as well?
Oh, yeah. Because I wanted to. I mean, even when I was 5, I was like, oh, what's going on? I need to see that. It's
like, oh, girls. I don't know why I like it. I just do. And then, you hit puberty, you're like, I like that.
I was still very, very young when I really, really wanted to see that. Because I could remember just going to video stores and renting things that had, kind of the sexy girls on the front, the models that they put on there. Turn around on the back and see a girl in her bra, and I'm like, boom, this is definitely going to have nudity. I am going to wank this tonight.
Mom, they don't have Charlotte's Web. Can we get Party Camp instead?
Yeah, so that was always a big thing. So, getting Slumber Party Massacre and seeing it was one of those things where my mom was like, oh boy, this is definitely going to have a lot of nudity and sex in it. So that tape was very, very edited. But I did sneak it in eventually because that's just kind of the mischievous boy I was. So yeah, I saw Slumber Party Massacre at a very, very young age, and it was fucking fantastic and has been ever since I can remember.
Nice. Well, it
along
was
with the sequels too.
Yes. Slumber Party Massacre 2 is awesome because it's rockabilly guitar drill.
Oh god, It's so beautiful.
Please, like, Scream Factory.
What makes sexy drill deaths better? Gretsch guitars.
Yeah. Oh, and Juliet Cummings is in the sequel, and she's definitely been in my top 10 ever since I was younger.
In the high in the spank bank rotation, huh?
Oof, very, very high. Yeah. Still is, no big deal.
You know what? It's funny because it's like I look at a lot of these scream queens, like Barbara Crampton, for example, looks like she could be my contemporary, hasn't aged a day.
No,
gorgeous.
She hasn't. It's ridiculous.
Like you look at her on screen in You're Next, and then you see her in person, and I'm like, how are you so flawless? Like, what black magic are you working to make this possible, and can I have some?
Yeah, they actually had to put makeup on her for Your Next to make her look older than she looks.
Yeah, she looked too young. It's just like that woman, like the camera and eyeballs everywhere love her.
Incredible. God bless you, Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy because I saw her last year, and I was at the Fantastic Fest when Your Next played, and I saw her on the screen. I'm like, there's Barbara Crampton doesn't look old. Like she's she looks legitimately old in this movie, and then after the movie, I see her and I'm like, no, this is still like, Susie Lynn from Chopping Mall and, Reanimator. She still looks like she's in her 30s. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, she hasn't aged a bit.
No, and she's a lovely human being too. Like maybe it's just her kindness that keeps her looking like that. But yeah, she looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Slumber Party Massacre was directed by Amy Holden Jones, and it was written by
Rita Mae Brown.
All ladies.
Who Rita Mae Brown was kind of like a big proponent of like feminism, and she wrote this as kind of a parody of slasher films, as opposed to wanting it to be a straight slasher. She was kind of, poking fun at the, the male centricness of these slasher flicks. But when it got in the hands of, Roger Corman's company, they decided to, no, we're going to do a straight slasher, and they hired Amy Jones. I always see the middle name, but I guess she directed it as Amy Jones, but she goes as Amy Holden Jones now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she, having the, ladies behind this made it, after, I grew up and I realized exactly what film was, that really, it changed the movie for me a big deal because, it was, obviously horror films are dominated by males most of the time, but ladies are coming back, like an exact perfect example since, Tristan's on the podcast is the Saska twins are here and they're kicking ass, of course, with, American Mary and then See No Evil 2. And even Lexi Alexander with Punisher Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like these girls love gore just as much as us guys. And, it definitely being in the 80s and women directing horror films, I think that was a huge stepping stone and a landmark that people don't really look at. Like people really need to realize, like, ladies directed these movies. I believe all the sequels were directed by women too.
Yeah.
And, that's a huge thing in the horror industry. And I think that's a big statement.
I think so too. And it's also important to remember, like, I haven't had a director that I haven't been able to work with yet, but I know that there's some women who prefer being directed in certain scenes by other women versus by men, like anything where they're nude or naked, or, they just seem a little bit more open to direction from another woman versus hearing it from a guy. Which, I'm like, a director's a director. That's their job, right? Like they'll tell you what to do and you fucking do it. But, for in those situations, and I think that really helped a lot of the women then do a lot of the scenes that they did that were like maybe more sexy scenes or more racy scenes, because it's like they're like someone's on their side who's directing them. They're not going to push them into doing something they don't want to do, so thereby they actually feel more comfortable doing whatever, right?
I think so. I mean, with that extended shower scene within the first 5 minutes, we're greeted to a lot of nudity and like lingering. Like, I think the camera lingers on this woman's ass for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I think that's the parody side of it. I mean, when it crossed over, of course, it was written as a parody slasher flick, and a few of those things do still cross over. For example, that scene, but I don't think we would have gotten that scene if we had dudes behind the camera, because I think that made it all more comfortable, and they were trying to maybe do it as to be cute and funny, and it was, because I can remember even still, I still giggle when it pops up, and we're focused on the female's breasts, and the camera's not moving up, and they're actually speaking, but we're still not moving. We just keep on going down the line as they pass like the soap. And that's the transition of the camera moving, but it never ever goes up to see their face. It's just directly on the ass and the breast. And that's just one of those things that made that movie, like, as soon as it starts, you're like, oh shit, like, we're gonna get some titties in this movie later, because we're getting titties now.
I have to say, like, as far as like irony levels go, that's like master hipster levels.
Yes,
it's like they kind of just trolled the whole industry, and it's so good. I think people totally missed the joke.
I think so.
And that's the thing, is because we're so we familiarized with ourselves with nudity in horror films. So I guess when people saw it in the theater, they were like, oh, it's boobs, but not fucking paying attention to that fucking credits where there's females behind this movie. It's like, this is a joke, guys, and it's really, really funny. You're just so desensitized with fucking Susie coming out of the fucking shower looking for Billy, her boyfriend, walking around and running around naked from our killer, and it's it's a huge statement, and that's why this film is very special.
Well, it works on a couple levels too, because not only is there the script, there's Roger Corman there's the Roger Corman, like they said in the commentary, they had to hit like gore and nudity, like every, there was a certain quota they had to meet for the movie as a whole. So I think she figured, she took those notes and decided to have some fun with it and just really knock it out of the park. If they were going to go that direction, they were going to go that direction. Instead of just kind of stringing it along throughout the movie, they went just all out in the beginning 6 minutes of the movie. There's so much TNA, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculously good.
The mad TNA requirements.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's the thing. And you mentioned it's a Corman, that people forget that this is kind of where it definitely Corman was behind, because I've seen a lot of fucking Roger Corman films, things that he's directed and things he's produced, and things that he's behind. This does not at all feel like a Corman flick. Did that come across to you like that at all? Because I know you watch Corman quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I have the entire when Shout Factor released all those Roger Corman directed and produced and whatever movies, and I've seen pretty much I think all of them, and this one just seems to be the most polished. I mean, his movies are not polished at all. They're fun.
Yeah, this is definitely an Amy Holden Jones movie. This is her movie, and she took it as her own. And again, that's why this film is so special.
Yeah, one of my favorite little touches in this movie too is the girl. She goes into her room to kind of hang out. I think it's the neighbor across the street, and she pulls a Playgirl magazine out from under her mattress. And it's Sylvester Stallone.
Playgirl's awesome. I have 2 copies of the issue with Peter Steele in it because in case one gets fucked up, I have to have my backup issue.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Peter Steele is the lead singer of Typo Negative, Sean, that I keep on telling you to play.
I don't have the rights to play a Typo Negative song for this podcast.
You don't need the rights. No one would fucking complain at all.
He's got a point.
Yeah.
Probably not. I get paranoid.
Maybe
if they come out with a new album, I'll have a reason.
Whoa.
Oh.
We don't joke about that kind of shit.
Whoa. Not funny. I don't make me bash you with my Ouija board.
Oh dear God.
I'm sorry, Peter made me do it. I have a message from Peter Steele from beyond the grave. Whack.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That hurts a little bit.
It's my turn.
I know we mention, people passing a lot on the show.
This is my turn now. Sorry.
But this is something where you shouldn't go, Sean. I'm just you shouldn't go here.
Okay, noted. Sorry. I mean, you had me at the Ouija board, man. I'm friggin' terrified of Ouija boards.
But
really?
I will tell you, Sean, that you did make that joke, but I don't know if Tristan knows this. She probably does. I don't doubt it at all. That the people most of the band members from Typo Negative did form another band a few years ago called I believe it's called Seventh Void. And of course they have a different singer, but they definitely have that Typo Negative sound that's pretty badass. No big deal.
I'll have to track them down.
They only had one album. It was kind of like a side project, but it was nice to hear that them reuniting. But it sucked because Peter wasn't behind him. But anyways, Slumber Party Massacre.
The Slumber Party Massacre. I mean, this movie, the plot's the basic slasher plot, so there's not really a whole lot to dive into. But there's a ton to like about the movie. I mean, the relationship between the girls having the slumber party. We need to mention the killer, Russ Thorne.
Yeah, excellent.
Played by Michael Villela. And he's fantastic because he pretty much doesn't talk the entire movie until
the end.
I think near the end. I mean,
the thing is, he we see him, of course, frequently, because I mean, it's not one of those things where we don't see, the killer's face till the end. We see him flat out in the very beginning, killing people actually at the school. He did a good job because he has this walk that he does, that's very, very quiet and 1 foot right in front of the other. And he caresses his drill like, it's his own part of his body, almost like his dick. But it was not till the end when he gives that kind of that small monologue, and it's very sinister. And that's why this movie, people can look at it as a parody all they want, but it gets really fucking creepy there for a complete second because he's like, "I love you, I loved all of you," and it's like, ooh, this guy's a fucking nutbag.
Chill goes down your spine. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like, damn, where the hell did this come from? Because this guy, mute the whole entire time, but now he has this, now we're getting psychologically in his brain, he loves these girls. He's killing them because he loves them, and that's a whole different story in itself that we never get. But I mean, that's also what I like about it, is this guy is really a complete psycho.
And I like that he doesn't really have a full backstory. You don't need it. I mean, you get the little
right?
He's escaped from jail or a mental institution or something, and that's all you really need to know. You don't need to know who his parents were, if he was abused, or all that kind of bullshit. Like, he's a psychopath.
It doesn't matter when he's coming at you with a drill. I don't want your backstory when you're, like, cornering me here.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the best part, is that we didn't have, fucking cops knocking on the door, hey, girls, there's a fucking killer on the loose. It's Russ Thorne. He murdered 17 people, 1980 fucking 5 or something like that. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have the cops. These girls are, and that's what's fun about the movie too, is because we isolated these girls. Yes, we have a couple male characters, but we do have we isolated these girls in this, this house, and they have to defend themselves, and in their 90s, and that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
Never underestimate the power of a girl with a mean left hook, whether she's in her 90 or otherwise,
exactly. Though. I was wondering this, too, when I was watching this movie. What's powering the drill?
It's battery pack.
Is it battery powered?
That's a big battery pack, though, because that's a big honking drill. I'm just saying.
Hey, you guys need to see my battery pack, and you'd be very, very impressed.
Oh, jeez.
I have a very, very big battery pack. It helps me do my helicopter dick.
Well, because you got to think, like, this is back in the 80s, right? So, batteries...
The answer is fuck you, Sean. It's a fucking portable drill.
I know, but... Anyway, it reminds me of the scene in Hatchet where they had to get a sander, but they thought up a gas-powered sander, But they didn't even go that far to even try to explain this. It's just, for some reason, he has a gigantic drill that seems to work without a cord. Done.
Hey, it happens. It happens. Because if it's attached to the fucking wall, like, what is he gonna do? Like, quietly plug it in? Move boxes to the side? Where's the damn plug? What fun is that, Sean? Because then you're going to have scenes like in Idle Hands with Seth Green when he picks up the little dicer and he's like, look at me, I'm Leatherface. And then it rips it out of the wall and
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have this crappy Black & Decker battery-powered drill, and that thing doesn't even last like 30 minutes. That's why I think about this stuff. Being
The drill is actually fueled by blood.
Okay. Well, I mean,
there you go.
Me being the domesticated suburbanite that I am, I think about this stuff,
Well, I mean, it's legit. We might have the technology for a drill to be like battery powered like that today, like it's solar powered or something, or it runs on like, I don't know, like a hemp oil. But back in '82, I don't know that they had perfected that kind of art. But I think there's this kind of like a certain amount of suspension of disbelief which is required to watch a film like this.
But in 1987, they had a guitar that was powered. See, when he played, that's what made the drill spin. That kind of technology does exist then, and it does exist now.
Well, that makes sense because they go out of their way to explain it.
Disbelief is what you need to watch that movie.
There you go.
It's awesome.
Sean sang last episode too.
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, It's my turn next. I'll do it.
Okay.
Let's do a karaoke podcast one day. I think it'll be great.
That sounds like that would get a lot of hits.
God, I don't know. That may lose us. Like, people may just stop listening to us. Unsubscribe. Click.
Buffy musical. We could divvy up the parts.
We could do Slumber Party Massacre, the musical.
Now that I would go see that. Like in LA, they do all these crazy type stuff. Like they do, Point Break the musical and things like that. We need a Slumber Party Massacre, the musical.
We just need lots of ladies. And actually, Sean, you should play one of the ladies too. But if we could just get a bunch of ladies, I think this could go somewhere. I think we're onto something.
I have been known to put on a dress for, to get on stage. So.
Always good.
In high school, we did these lip sync contests in my junior year, and I did Lunch Ladyland in Lunch Lady Getup.
That Adam Sandler thing?
Yes.
You would.
Well, that was back when he was legitimately funny.
Yes, he was funny at one time, and now he's not.
Yeah, he's not. All right, well, let's talk about this disc here and whether or not people should friggin' buy this thing.
Yes.
The transfer, they did a new transfer sourced from the original camera negative.
Yep.
And I'm going to get nerdy here. It's an AVC encoded 1080p in 1.78:1 aspect ratio.
Boom.
It looks great. This is the best.
It really does, yeah.
this movie's ever looked. The Blu-ray looks fantastic. It kicks my DVD's ass. So that needs to be noted that this is a definite upgrade. If you own the
it's
DVD.
not cleaned up at all. It is dirty as hell, and it looks great.
Yeah.
It really, really looks fantastic. I mean, it reminds me of, watching it still. I mean, as soon as it starts and you get all the cuts and scrapes and dirt that's in there, and that's why, I like when, it's clear, the transfer's, amazing. But still there's that, seeing that brings you back to when you're a kid, and it is a very, very great feeling.
Yeah. The audio sounds great. I'm no audio, genius or anything like that, but it's a lossless DTS HD master audio mono track.
Mm.
But it's delivered via master audio 2.0, whatever that is. I don't know.
Wow, that just nerded me out too bad.
I know.
It sounds really, really good.
It sounds good. I mean, there's no complaints there. You can hear everything you need to, and I don't think they did a fake 5.1. Like sometimes what companies will do, they'll try to do a 5.1 on an older movie like this, and most of the time it doesn't work. Like you can't hear things too well, or things are just way too separated. But crank this sucker up, and it's no Saving Private Ryan. It's not gonna, rumble your system, but it sounds the way it should, totally.
Well, the soundtrack is very, very loud. It's very, very nice to listen to. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say about that. I need to mention the extras, because those are the things I always pay attention to. They ported over the extras from the DVD.
Yeah, it's not very good. I mean, it's just pretty much the same thing. However, we will get to
yeah, I mean, it includes the original documentary, that's on the DVD, Sleepless Nights, the making of the Slumber Party Massacre. It's $4.80. It's the original DVD, like, transfer, so there's no upgrade in that, if you're looking for that sort of thing. It brings over the commentary from Amy Jones, Michael Villela, and Deborah DeLiso is on there, and it's moderated by some douchebag. I don't know. He's not that good of a moderator.
Douchebag.
I don't know.
Hopefully he's not listening.
I don't care. He needs to step up his game. All right, Be a moderator. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. I mean, there's some really, really bad moderators, especially during festivals and things. People hosting Q&As is pretty fucking funny sometimes. It's actually not funny, but it is in a way. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's okay, but the information you get from the director and the actors is great. They have great stories. Amy Jones keeps saying how great Deborah looked naked at the time, so there's that. The only new extra is this
drum roll
bizarre interview with actor Rig Kennedy,
who plays the neighbor.
I'm not really sure what I watched. Brad, what did you gather?
Well, when it first hit with people got their screeners, the bloggers got their screeners, I saw a couple times pop up, oh my God, if there's one thing you should watch other than the movie, make sure you watch this interview. And they didn't say anything else about it. So, when I first got it, that's immediately what I went to, because I was really, really wanting to see it. And holy fucking shit. It has the neighbor who, I don't understand how the hell he got on this Blu-ray, and this is the only new thing that they did. They must have had a backstory with this guy. They must have known who he was, and I don't know if I could actually prepare you. All I can do is basically say what he says. It starts off very somewhat normal. He's like in front of his computer's on, which is weird. He's got like a little webcam, and he's got all these fucking envelopes, and it's just like his office desk. But then the camera kind of moves to the left a little bit, and you can see his bed in the corner, and that kind of it makes you feel a little bit different because it's like, okay, this is not an office. This is his bedroom. And then the camera pulls back and we get to actually see the entire room. And this is actually, they show this after he starts going off, but he has like fucking derogatory things about Obama on his ceiling. He has random egg cartons stapled to his ceiling. He has these weird paintings. It seems like he's in a fucking cult or something. And he just starts fucking talking wacko shit after 2 minutes in the interview. And he gets into this thing where he talks about his son and he wrote this poem, and no correlation with his role in the movie, nothing. He just basically goes on this tangent about this poem that he wrote, and he performs it like he was on stage and reads it as as an actor. And he gets on his knees and he just screams orgasm at the top of his lungs at one point. And it's just really bizarre. And the poem is not just, like a fucking haiku or something. It's like he has page after page he's reading, and they don't put it all in there, but he does read for a good, I would say, 3 to 5 minutes.
He's like, a Wagner version of a poem. It lasts days, weeks.
Oh, yeah. And it's just like this I really want to see the full interview.
Yeah,
because it was cut down, and between him screaming and just yelling, and during the interview, they move the camera around. Like when he's not looking, I guess they like point it up to the ceiling just to show exactly. So it's almost like they're making fun of the guy at some point. But I mean, obviously they're not saying anything. It's just the interview's there. But this guy is completely out of his mind. And he's not like, he didn't go on to do anything major. He's still active today. So it's not like he did this and this is what he, solely bases his, fame on or anything. He's like, I think I looked it up. He was like one of the voices for one of the, I never watched the show, but Beetleborgs.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, he did like the one of the villains in the show or something.
The crazy villains or one of like the monster villains.
From what I saw, I don't know, but from what I saw in this interview, I'm going to go with one of the crazy monster villains.
Oh, crazy.
Because this guy,
hilarious.
Yeah, he just fucking goes off, and it is an experience alone, just on this Blu-ray.
It's ridiculous.
It's fucking fantastic.
And that was my beef. I was like, okay, I mean, the transfer to this Blu-ray is amazing. I already own all 3 movies, am I going to plunk down, should people plunk down $25?
Yes.
$20-25 for this.
So we can get the sequels.
Well, that's what I'm leaning to. I'd say, I would say yes, definitely. I mean, if you're a fan of Slumber Party Massacre, it's never looked this good, and it's a no-brainer to buy. And that's what you brought up, Brad, is they're kind of holding out to see, how well this does before they drag the sequels, out and give them the Scream Factory treatment.
Yeah, because most people don't. I mean, a lot of people dismiss the sequels just because the second one is batshit crazy. A lot of weird shit happens, but it's one of my all-time favorites. Sometimes I like the sequel over the first one just because it's a musical part of the time, and it's just so nutty. And just him dancing up the stairs, down the stairs, playing the fucking guitar, and it's spinning, and of course Juliet Cummings is in it, so there you go. And it's like the girl rock band, and all the girls are very, very attractive in the sequel, aside from this girl, the one that has the Z on her face and blows up. Yeah, she might not be that cute. But Juliet Cummings is in it, so she kind of rules over everybody.
Well, what I'm hoping they do is they do like a double feature at least.
Yeah.
Get 2 and 3 on a double feature disc.
Yeah.
We'll be happy.
Fine with that. Yeah.
But if you want to see those on Blu-ray, get this Blu-ray. All right?
Yeah.
I would say buy it. I mean, this is one of the kind of no-brainer buys from the Scream Factory for sure.
Agreed.
Yes. Well, that's all I got about Slumber Party Massacre.
Tristan, do you have anything to add about Slumber Party Massacre?
I definitely grab it. It's highly recommended from us.
Recommend it.
Mm-hmm. We're going to start wrapping up here. We're running out of time. But Tristan, I wanted to give you a chance to let us all know kind of what you're working on in the future. Like, what do you have that's coming out? I know that you worked with Astron 6.
I did. That was the editor, and that also stars, as well as Astron 6, Udo Kier, which was really exciting for me because it's like being in the presence of the master. And recently, the short film Call Girl by Jill Six, and also starring Lawrence Harvey from Human Centipede 2 and 3, has started making the festival circuit rounds, and that's out now, and it's making its way around to people. And I wrapped work on House of Manson, where I play Abigail Folger, who was in the Tate House the night of the murders and was also horribly killed herself. And coming up, I have the film Lovesick, which is by Todd Friedman, which is going to be shooting closer to summer, and it's a body horror, which I'm really excited about. I'll play Rebecca. And as well, I'll be voicing a character named Miss Risk based on myself for the Chainsaw Sally animated television show. So there's a few things happening. There's a couple things going on.
There was one more thing that I saw. What is the Fetish Factory?
The Fetish Factory. Yeah, that's brand new. That's going to be shooting in Los Angeles in May, and I'm really excited about that too.
What's the setup for that? I mean, the name. I mean, I should just see Fetish Factory and be totally okay. But what's the setup for that?
You're like, I'm in. I don't. Whatever it is, I'll buy it. I'm going to get to showcase one of my useless human talents in working a very large whip. So that's all I'll say about that.
Sweet.
Because I don't want to spoil too much of it for you. But, you know when your Indiana Jones skills might come in handy in instances like this.
I was hoping you say you get a showcase, bending a nail with your ass, but...
Well, it might change. I might get down there and they might be like, you know what, Tristan? We're going to try something new. Yeah, we are going to let you do that thing with the nail in your butt. And I'll be like, awesome.
I think you should just add that in. I think you just say, look, I have some skills here. I can bring something to the table other than the gigantic whip act. I can bend a nail with my ass, people.
And the funny thing about Fetish Factory is that most of the cast members have and will be on our podcast. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, it's a little odd that that all of them are going to be on the show.
We're all in bed together. It's one big Hugh fucking Hefner mattress, and we're all wiggling around under the covers together. That's what's up.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. For sure.
Welcome to the horror orgy, which ties into the Slumber Party Massacre thing very nicely. You're welcome.
I am down for that.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the ScreamCast. I want to thank all of you for listening. Tristan, where can people find you on the internet?
On the interwebs, people can find me at my website, littlemissrisk.ca. I'm also on Twitter at littlemissrisk.com, or just at littlemissrisk. I just feel the need to add .com to everything. And I'm also on Instagram under Little Miss Risk as well. So you can see all the weird things that I like to take photos of, like starfish and squirrels, graffitied street signs, raver domiciles, the usual.
And you can check out Brad's new Burlesque act.
Peniscopter.
Yeah, peniscopter.com.
And definitely doing it to typo negative songs.
Oh, I love it. So,
I am going to get a fucking crowd. I'm just saying.
We need to make that happen. You can follow us on Twitter at Scream_cast. You can follow me if you want to on Twitter, Sean C. DeRager. Also, we need to bring up nerdly.co.uk.
Yeah, the people that wanted to basically pick us up for some weird reason we don't understand yet, because we're just starting out. And but it's very nice to actually have a site like them, as big as they are, to say, hey, come on over. And that was quite nice. So thank you guys.
So check them out. You can follow them. Nerdly UK is their Twitter handle. And of course, go to nerdly.co.uk. I'm not used to those. I'm not used to the Canada is .ca and then UK is co.uk. I'm just used to just
get used to it, Sean.
I know.
It's 2014.
I know. I'm sheltered. Brad, where can people find you on Twitter and all that junk?
You can find me checking out Little Miss Risk website. And her Instagram and all that good stuff. But I'm at Brad F. Henderson, and that's about it.
Look for his review on a Vinegar Syndrome porno coming out soon.
Yeah. By the time this airs, I started watching vintage hardcore porno, but I decided to do it. Decided to do it not sober, because it feels a little odd writing a review on vintage hardcore porno when there's not, no offense to people, but there's not a whole lot to the story or plot. It's just
what?
Yeah, trust me, I've seen about 4 and they're all the same, but it's a little difficult because the same thing happens. People fuck, so I decided to do it maybe a little drunk. And it doesn't, and it's worth it. The reviews, of course, go downhill because I drink through the entire thing, and I write as it's happening because I want to write about my experiences rather than sitting and writing about penises going in vaginas, which is not a bad thing. But it's better to do it as it's going because, trust me, Vinegar Syndrome has some really crazy shit they're doing.
Are you going to try to correct your spelling, or are you going to leave it the way it is? Because the texts that you sent me were just...
I got on Twitter and have been texting friends back and forth that night, and I think I'm pretty well-rounded when it comes to, spelling and grammar, punctuation, all that jazz. I'm pretty decent, I'd like to say. My editor might say otherwise, but that's definitely up to my editor. I told her about it, and she thought it was very funny. So we'll see. I'll just say the last paragraph is one long ass run-on sentence.
This is amazing. I cannot wait to read this.
So I don't know. It's all up to her if she wants to do it. We'll see. But it's a play-by-play through the night. And I hope people enjoy it. And if it gets a lot of hits and it is popular, I might be doing this regularly. So we'll see.
It's a blessing and a curse, Brad.
Yep. It was fun. I will say it was definitely because that's the weird thing. Real quick, I'm watching it. I put it in. It's called Marilyn and the Senator, and which has Bill Marigold in it, which I didn't even realize when his name popped up because I knew him just from interviews and everything. He's like a porn king. We're 30 minutes into the movie, and there are no dicks or titties, and it's just this really bad acting comedy. And so I'm like, okay, I'll watch this. I'll write about it. And then boom, penis and vagina. And I'm like, oh shit, this is a hardcore porno. And I was like, I don't know. How do I review this? I just don't know how to review a porno. I really don't. I mean, I'm not like a fucking notorious blogger or anything. I don't do that for a living. I just do it for fun. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking fix 2 White Russians, and I am going to get a little drunk, and I'm going to write this as the movie's happening as an experience, and that's exactly what I did.
That sounds amazing.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
You can find Brad's writing over at popshifter.com, and
yes.
I, for one, am looking forward to these reviews. I really hope they post them.
Well, this next week, I also did one for a movie called Lust for Freedom. It's a woman in prison movie, and it's a little goofy, and it's not very good, but I decided to make it good by incorporating a drinking game into the review.
There you go.
So I give people a drinking game to watch this movie, and you will be fucking tanked.
All right. So. Tristan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us losers here.
Thank you for having a loser like me on the show.
Awesome. Well, we love to have you, and we'd love to have you again as things come up. I'm sure we can make that happen.
Oh, I'm sure you can lure me into your gingerbread house anytime.
Mm-hmm. Mm. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Find us on iTunes. Just type in Scream Factory. Damn it. Type in Screencast.
I mean, that's promotion, but type us in first. No big deal.
Type us in first. Leave us a review, and then buy Scream Factory shit.
There you go.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.